Yeah, basically it's just ripping through pretty much every packer we can get our hands on and getting the original entry point and generating a valid dump for each one. So you can see this process is pretty easy to automate. I mean, you could literally just pass thousands and thousands of files and it would rip through, generating unpacked, deobfuscated versions for you. So Petite, we've got PEX, pretty much every packer that you can imagine that we were able to get a hold of. There's some commercial packers we weren't able to test yet because we didn't purchase them. But if you think back to our graph that shows the most commonly used packers, this pretty much covers like 95% of what's in use out there. So like even scrambled UPEX, same thing. And finally, Armadillo. You'll see here that the address isn't exactly the same, but it's in the same page, right?
Right. So you get the address that's in there, and if you actually go in and load it, then you'll find it there. And each of the dump files are generated here, and everything's restored. You actually get the icons and resources loaded, and everything just sort of works. Okay. Thank you very much.
We got a question over here.
So for each run you had like 8 or 9 hits. Can you comment on what the differences are?
What?
8 or 9 hits and how you
Sure. So what we're tracking is any memory that's been written and has also been executed in. And that's what you're seeing, is the executions into each of those pages there. And on each of those executions, we actually make a dump because it's very hard to find the original entry point.
You can't predict which one it's going to be. In fact, at first we were generating like 1,000 files, but what we discovered is generally it's like in the first 4 almost always.
There's some statistical methods. There was a IEEE Computer and Security article about determining if a file's packed. And so the next step is to actually apply those statistical methods and determine which one is the most unpacked. This was the Julia Child version of unpacking. We knew the original entry point, so we were able to pick that out. If you go through it, again, you would apply the statistical methods and figure out which one you would know. But in this case, we knew, but we've actually tried this on real malware, like samples that people have uploaded to our sites, and it's worked well. You just have to sort of fish through all of them. But
yeah, there's a lot of ways to do that automatically. I mean, one real simple way is either compress them and see what the compression ratio looks like. If it doesn't compress, it's still packed. Run strings across it, try to determine which one has the best strings. You can automate it, or you can do it by hand. And I mean, if you've only got like 4 or 5 dumps to go through, it's a lot better than spending 4 or 8 hours manually unpacking.
Yeah. And Arrow made a good point. You can often take just the last one that unpacks. It doesn't give you the original entry point, but it gives you an unpacked binary. We begged and borrowed for it. About a year ago, the question was how did we build our malware database? And we started offensive computing about a year and a half ago. We were frustrated because we couldn't find samples of malware that we needed, and we asked, well, why isn't anybody just providing this as an open service? And then we didn't find anybody doing that. That wasn't a real strange VX virus collector. And so we decided to create a more legitimate collection of this.
So we use honeypots, we scour the web, grab email attachments. We get a ton of submissions. Every day people are uploading viruses to us. We've had large collections donated to us. So just a variety of methods. We try to collaborate with as many people doing malware analysis as we can. And so we built it up pretty quick.
And a lot of it's interacting with people like you, that sort of thing, going out and trading and that sort of thing. So, yes. So that's a good question. The question was, did we try it on the shifting decode frame? The answer is no. We weren't able to find a real reliable sample. So if anybody knows of a good one we can go look for, we'll try it out.
I suspect we may have problems with that, but we haven't really been able to work on it very much since we didn't have any samples of it. So offensivecomputing.net, submit a sample, we'll test it and publish the results. That
sort of thing. So another caveat to this is packers like Themida which actually load a kernel module to start looking and seeing if people are doing this sort of thing, that'll completely destroy this, and it won't work on that. But again, 95% of the packers that are out there don't do that. They're just the real simple ones. Yes?
So you're dumping the code path along the pages that it was hit. So if it has a problem, if malware executes and intentionally skips multiple pages based on your environment, will you still catch that?
Well, that's where you have to look at the entire memory and analyze each dump file. So again, taking a look at the last one, it'll track all the ones that have been executed. But yeah, there's a possibility that it could miss it. But if it doesn't execute, then it might not be of as much value.
That would be good for us to test more, actually. That's a good idea. We'll try that out. Any other questions? All right, well, thanks very much for listening to us.